Sorry I can't be there today, but what I wanted to do was try to give you the lesson I gave the students on Friday. At this point in time, you should have already turned in your homework to the teacher in the room. That was due today. That was on the loose leaf paper, and it dealt with types of banks and what a banks do. No matter what you have, it's okay. I want you to turn that in. It's going to be important a little bit later in our mini economy. Just make sure your name's on it. Okay, so what we did on Friday was this. We talked about the types of banks, and then we talked about one of the things that banks do. And for right here in this spot, I just told the students, you guys can write here today because we're going to add a type of bank, and I'm going to give you an example of each. But don't worry about putting anything here today. It's not enough space. We'll do that on the loose leaf paper that you get back a little bit later. Okay, so types of banks. There are five. Four of them you would have read about in that brief little reading on that page 9. But here they are. First, the one that was missing, investment bank. You can go ahead and write that into that one spot in your packet. And a good example of an investment bank is Vanguard. Okay, investment banks are very different than the banks you kind of know. They really only specialize in investing. There's a lot that goes on to that, and we'll see that when we visit one of these a little bit later on. Another bank that you would have read about is the commercial bank. This is the one that you are most familiar with. This is the one that you see, like, they're on street corners everywhere, big buildings downtown, U.S. Bank, BMO Harris, and so on. You're most familiar with this. So here's your example of it. Then credit unions, another type of bank. A good example of that is Landmark Credit Union. They're all over southeastern Wisconsin. Then there is the internet bank or online bank. These don't exist as a brick and mortar building. Okay, they only exist online. A good example of this is Capital One. You've heard of Capital One. What's in your wallet? Okay, so that's a bank that you would never go to, like physically walk into a building like you can those other three. Only exists online. And then the fifth one, savings and loans. A good example of that is West Bend Savings Bank. Okay, you don't see too many of these anymore, although there's some savings and loans still exist. And we'll talk about the reasons why for that a little bit later on. These are the 5 types of banks that are out there today. Make sure you get that information in there. And this is the end of our first video. Okay, go on to video number 2.